private jets worth over $40 million, properties worth over $4.2 million, and $1 million for Mariah Carey's performance. This is how Africa's richest presidents hide their billions. Number 10. Goodluck Jonathan, Nigeria. Goodluck Jonathan, Nigeria's 14th president, served from 2010 to 2015. His wealth is estimated to be between $12 million and $200 million. Many find this shocking, considering his humble beginnings and rise through politics. People often wonder where this money came from and how it is being used. Jonathan was born in 1957 in Bayelsa State. He started as a deputy governor, eventually becoming Nigeria's president. His leadership was marked by big promises, but his time in office also became linked to huge scandals. These scandals raised serious questions about how the country's money was being handled. One of the biggest controversies was the Malabu oil deal. It involved $1.3 billion that should have boosted Nigeria's economy. Instead, reports revealed that the money ended up in private accounts linked to powerful figures in his government. This left Nigerians angry, especially when the nation struggled with poverty and poor infrastructure. Jonathan's wealth comes from various sources like real estate and oil investments. In 2007, he publicly declared his assets to be worth $8.5 million. Today, the value of his wealth has grown significantly. Though he avoids public displays of luxury, reports suggest he owns properties in prime locations and has secret investments. Another shocking case involved $9 million meant for arms and equipment to fight Boko Haram. This money was reportedly stolen by officials during his presidency. A court in the UK confirmed that the funds were misused. This scandal caused outrage, as it highlighted how public money was often diverted while citizens faced threats from terrorism. Jonathan's leadership style kept him out of direct controversy. However, investigations like the Pandora Papers exposed hidden offshore accounts linked to Nigerian elites during his rule. These accounts were used to hide money and buy properties outside Nigeria. This added to suspicions that the wealth of many government officials came from public funds. Despite all this, Jonathan's public image remains quiet and modest. He doesn't show off expensive cars or jewelry. Yet, his presidency is remembered for widespread corruption that drained billions from Nigeria. People still ask how much of the nation's money went unaccounted for during his time. Nigeria's missing billions disappeared without a trace. But the next ruler's story reveals something even darker. While his people starved, this president spent 1,600 days living it up in Europe's fanciest hotels, and that's just the beginning. Number 9. Paul Biya, Cameroon. Paul Biya, born in 1933, has been the president of Cameroon since 1982. His time in power makes him one of the longest-serving leaders in Africa. But it is not just his long rule that gets attention. His enormous wealth, estimated at $200 million or more, raises serious questions. People wonder how he has so much money while the country struggles with poverty. Biya's critics say he used his position to build his fortune. In 2008, he changed the rules to allow himself to stay in power longer. This move gave him more control over the country's money. During his rule, corruption became a big problem in Cameroon. In fact, Transparency International called it the most corrupt country in the world in 1998 and 1999. Many believe that the country's wealth has been mishandled, while its leaders live in comfort. Biya is known for his love of luxury. He owns homes in France and Switzerland and is a regular visitor at high-end hotels in Europe. Between 2006 and 2009, he spent over 1,600 days on private trips abroad. These trips cost Cameroon millions of dollars. For a leader of a struggling country, this level of spending shocks many people. The way Biya hides his money adds to the mystery. Reports say he uses secret accounts and investments in other countries. While his wealth grows, Cameroonians deal with poor services and low living standards. The country has oil and fertile land, but these resources do not seem to help the people. Instead, they wonder where all the money goes. His leadership has left the country in bad shape. Roads, schools, and hospitals are in poor condition. Many believe the funds meant for these projects have been diverted elsewhere. Yet Biya continues to enjoy a lifestyle far removed from the struggles of everyday citizens. What surprises many is how long this has gone on. Despite the allegations and public anger, Biya remains in power. His wealth and spending show a leader disconnected from the hardships of his people. Cameroonians are left to question how much better their lives could have been if their nation's wealth had been used properly. Hotel bills shocked the nation, but wait until you see what happens when oil money meets family greed. The next president turned poverty into private jets, and his son's Paris shopping sprees would make even billionaires blush. Number 8. Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasogo, Equatorial Guinea. Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasogo has been the president of Equatorial Guinea since 1979. He is one of the richest leaders in Africa, with an estimated net worth of $600 million. At the same time, more than 76% of his people live in poverty. This makes people wonder how a leader can hold so much wealth while his nation struggles. Obiang's money mostly comes from oil. Equatorial Guinea is rich in oil, but the profits have not helped the people. Instead, much of the wealth has gone to Obiang and his family. For years, they have been accused of taking public money for personal use. This has left many angry, especially when basic needs like clean water and schools are not met. Obiang's son, Teodoro Nguema Obiang Mangue, is his vice president and often in the spotlight for corruption. In 2017, a French court found him guilty of stealing public money. He used over 150 million euros to buy luxury items, including expensive cars and a mansion in Paris. This case revealed the extent of the family's spending and shocked the world. In 2021, France's highest court upheld the ruling, proving that the corruption was undeniable. The Obiang family is known for living in luxury. They own multiple homes, private jets, and a fleet of luxury cars. In one case, Swiss authorities seized 11 of their expensive cars as part of a corruption investigation. The family also owns a private jet worth around $40 million. Stories of their extravagant spending often make headlines and leave many wondering how they afford it. To hide their wealth, the family uses secret accounts and fake companies. Investigations have found that they move money around to make it hard to trace. In one shocking case, the US government tried to recover over $70 million connected to the family. This included a $30 million mansion in Malibu and a private jet worth $38.5 million. These efforts show just how much wealth the family has taken from the country. A $40 million jet might seem wild, but Benin's Cotton King had different plans for hiding wealth. When your presidential guards try to overthrow you, having friends in high places isn't enough. Number 7. Patrice Talon, Benin. Patrice Talon, born in 1958, has been the president of Benin since 2016. Before stepping into politics, he was already one of the country's wealthiest men. Known as the King of Cotton, he made his fortune in the cotton industry and other businesses. In 2015, Forbes listed him as one of the richest people in sub-Saharan Africa, with an estimated net worth of $400 million. Talon's wealth comes from years of success in business. He founded the Intercontinental Distribution Company, which became a key player in Benin's cotton exports. His ability to manage and expand his ventures earned him a powerful position in the economy. Alongside cotton, he also invested in agriculture and other industries, further boosting his fortune. While much of his wealth is tied to legitimate businesses, some have questioned his rise to power and the influence of his money. Despite his riches, Talon keeps his spending habits private. Unlike many wealthy leaders, he does not openly display a flashy lifestyle. However, his time as president has drawn attention for different reasons. Critics say he has used his position to strengthen his control over the government. In 2019, a Benin court banned one of his main political rivals, Lionel Zinsou, from running in elections for 5 years. Many saw this as a move to silence opposition. Recently, Talon's name came up in a shocking case. In 2024, 3 prominent figures, including a presidential guard commander and a former sports minister, were arrested for allegedly planning a coup. One of them, Olivier Boko, is a close friend of Talon and was accused of leading the plot. This event shook the country and raised questions about Talon's leadership and inner circle. Cotton millions vanished overnight, but the next president got caught with cash stuffed in furniture. Between buffalo sales and farm robberies, South Africa's richest leader proved some secrets refused to stay buried. Number 6. Cyril Ramaphosa, South Africa. Cyril Ramaphosa, born in 1952 in Soweto, South Africa, is one of the richest leaders in Africa. Before becoming president, he was a successful businessman and an anti-apartheid activist. His net worth is estimated at $450 million. This level of wealth surprises many, especially because he now leads a country with serious economic struggles. Ramaphosa built his fortune through smart investments. He founded Shanduka Group, a company with businesses in mining, real estate, banking, and fast food. Shanduka also owned the McDonald's franchise in South Africa, adding millions to his earnings. In 2014, the company merged with another business, creating a group valued at $900 million. These moves made Ramaphosa one of the most powerful businessmen in the country. When he became deputy president in 2014, Ramaphosa said he stepped away from his business roles. He claimed this was to focus on serving the public. Still, his wealth and business connections have raised questions over the years. Many wonder if he truly cut ties with his businesses or if he continues to benefit from them. One of the most shocking events during his presidency is the Farmgate scandal. In 2020, thieves broke into his Fala farm and stole a large amount of cash hidden in furniture. The incident became public in 2022, sparking outrage and accusations of corruption. Critics claimed the money was hidden illegally and accused Ramaphosa of money laundering. He denied the accusations, saying the money came from selling buffaloes. Investigations cleared him of criminal charges, but the scandal left people questioning his leadership. Some opposition parties are still demanding answers and even pushing for impeachment. Ramaphosa's lifestyle reflects his wealth, but he avoids showing it off. He owns luxury homes in Johannesburg and Cape Town and runs a cattle farm at Fala. While he keeps his spending private, his expensive properties and businesses reveal his financial success. Private jets raise questions, but Rwanda's next ruler wrote the perfect playbook for hiding billions. Behind his promises of turning Africa into Singapore, a $50 million jet told a different story. Number 5. Paul Kagame, Rwanda. Paul Kagame, born in 1957, has been leading Rwanda as its president since 2000. His net worth is estimated at $500 million, which surprises many given Rwanda's history of poverty and struggle. While Kagame is celebrated for rebuilding the country, questions about his wealth and how he uses it continue to grow. Kagame became a key figure in Rwanda after the 1994 genocide. His leadership of the Rwandan Patriotic Front helped bring an end to the violence. After taking office, he focused on development and economic growth. Rwanda has seen remarkable progress under his rule, but there are also concerns about how much control he and his family have over the nation's wealth. A major part of Kagame's fortune is tied to Crystal Ventures, a company his family is said to control. This business is involved in many areas, including real estate, construction, and telecommunications. Reports say the company's assets are worth over $500 million. One of its most talked about items is a $50 million private jet owned by Kagame. Such luxuries stand out in a country where many people still live in poverty. Kagame's lifestyle also raises eyebrows. He has a luxurious home in Kigali and access to high-end facilities and properties. However, he carefully presents himself as a modest leader focused on national progress. This has left many wondering about the gap between his private wealth and his public image. To manage his wealth, Kagame reportedly uses a complex system of business investments. Crystal Ventures operates in many industries, which makes it hard to track where all the money goes. This has led to criticism about transparency and fairness, with some saying the family's financial interests overlap too much with the nation's economy. Farm scandals exposed millions, but the next president shocked everyone. When your family business controls half the country, who needs offshore accounts? Number 4. Uhuru Kenyatta, Kenya. Uhuru Kenyatta, born in 1961, was the president of Kenya from 2013 to 2022. He comes from one of the wealthiest families in Africa, and his net worth is estimated at around $530 million. This makes him one of the richest people in Kenya. His family's wealth and power have been a subject of interest for many years. The Kenyatta family has a large business empire. They have investments in banking, media, transport, dairy, and land. One of their most famous companies is Brookside Dairy, which is the biggest milk processor in Kenya. They also hold significant shares in NCBA Bank. These companies help the Kenyatta family make a lot of money, but not everyone is happy with how they manage their wealth. In 2021, the Pandora Papers leak shocked many people. The papers revealed that the Kenyatta family secretly owned offshore companies in places like Panama and the British Virgin Islands. These companies had millions of dollars in assets. For example, a company owned by Uhuru's brother, Muhoho Kenyatta, was valued at $31.6 million in 2016. This raised many questions about how the family was using these offshore accounts. Even though the Kenyatta family has all this wealth, Uhuru Kenyatta himself tries to keep a modest public image. He lives in a private home in Nairobi and sometimes goes to the family's estates in the countryside. However, their massive land holdings and powerful businesses have caused concern among Kenyans, especially with the country's large gap between the rich and the poor. The use of offshore accounts has also caused a lot of talk. While it is legal to have these accounts, they can be used to hide money or avoid paying taxes. Many people believe the Kenyatta family is using these accounts to avoid transparency and responsibility for the country's resources. After the Pandora Papers were released, Kenyatta said that he welcomed audits and promised more financial transparency. He denied that he personally owned any of the offshore accounts, but accepted that his family did. Banking empires and hidden accounts worked for some, but Gabon's rulers went bigger. 50 years of father-son rule bought 39 French mansions, until one night changed everything. Number 3. Ali Bongo Ondimba, Gabon. Ali Bongo Ondimba, born in 1959, became Gabon's president in 2009 after his father, Omar Bongo, ruled for 41 years. Together, the Bongo family controlled Gabon for more than 5 decades. During this time, they built a massive fortune, while most of the population lived in poverty. This wealth has been surrounded by accusations of corruption and misuse of public funds. The Bongo family's wealth is estimated to be in the hundreds of millions of dollars. A 2007 investigation by French police uncovered that they owned 39 properties in France, held 70 bank accounts, and had 9 luxury cars worth over 1.5 million euros. The family's control extended beyond Gabon's borders, and they used various methods to manage and hide their money. Reports show that the Bongos used offshore companies to move their wealth. These companies were based in tax havens, making it difficult to track where the money came from. The Pandora Papers exposed connections between Ali Bongo and shell companies, showing how the family avoided financial scrutiny. Critics argue that these practices kept their fortune hidden from the public, while Gabonese citizens suffered economic hardships. Ali Bongo and his family lived a life of luxury. They owned several high-end properties in France and the United States. Investigators found that the family purchased at least 7 properties near Washington, D.C., worth over $4.2 million. These purchases were often made in cash, raising suspicions about their source of funds. Meanwhile, Gabon's oil wealth failed to improve the lives of ordinary people, leaving many in poverty. Bongo's presidency faced constant allegations of corruption. In August 2023, his rule ended abruptly when a military coup removed him from power. This happened shortly after he was declared the winner of a disputed election. Following the coup, his son Noureddin Bongo Valentin was arrested along with close allies. They faced charges of embezzlement and corruption, further exposing the family's financial dealings. French mansions crumbled fast, but Morocco's king plays in a different league. When your palace costs more than small countries' budgets, even Swiss banks start taking notes. Number 2, King Mohammed VI, Morocco. King Mohammed VI of Morocco was born on August 21, 1963. He became king in 1999 after the death of his father, King Hassan II. With an estimated net worth between $2.1 billion and $5.7 billion, he is one of the richest monarchs in the world. His wealth and lifestyle have drawn both attention and criticism. The king's money comes mainly from Al Mada, an investment company he controls. This company has interests in many industries, including banking, mining, telecommunications, and energy. The king owns more than half of the company, which means he earns directly from Morocco's economy. Many people find this concerning, especially in a country where a large number of citizens struggle financially. King Mohammed VI lives a life of luxury that few can imagine. He owns several palaces across Morocco, including one in Casablanca that costs about $1 million each month to maintain. He is known for traveling on private yachts and owning some of the world's most expensive cars. His collection includes rare and high-end vehicles that only the super-rich can afford. While he enjoys these luxuries, many Moroccans live in poverty, which has raised questions about how the country's resources are managed. The king and his family have been linked to offshore accounts used to move and protect their wealth. The Pandora Papers revealed that his sister used a shell company to buy an $11 million property in the United Kingdom. These funds were traced back to the royal family. The Panama Papers also linked the king to other offshore accounts, showing a pattern of keeping wealth out of the public eye. The king's frequent trips abroad have also drawn criticism. In late 2024, he was seen walking with his children in Paris, just weeks after meeting French President Emmanuel Macron in Rabat. This led many to question his focus on governing Morocco, especially given the challenges the country faces. In addition to his properties in Morocco, the king has invested in real estate overseas. He owns a palace in Zanzibar, Tanzania, which he purchased in 2016 and has been renovating. This property is just one of his many international assets that show the reach of his wealth. $1 million palace bills seem crazy until you meet Angola's master of hiding money. His daughter hired Mariah Carey for private parties while billions disappeared into thin air, and death only made the mystery deeper. Number 1. José Eduardo dos Santos, Angola. José Eduardo dos Santos led Angola from 1979 to 2017, making him one of the longest-serving African leaders. His 38 years in power helped him build a fortune estimated at $20 billion. While he lived a life of luxury, most of Angola's people struggled in poverty, raising questions about how he and his family became so rich. Dos Santos's wealth came from Angola's oil, diamonds, and telecommunications industries. He placed family members in top positions in state-owned companies. His daughter, Isabel dos Santos, became the head of Sonangol, the national oil company. Under her leadership, massive amounts of money were reportedly redirected for personal gain. These moves allowed the Dos Santos family to control the country's wealth, while ordinary citizens received very little. To hide their money, the family used offshore companies and complex financial arrangements. The Pandora Papers revealed that they owned businesses in places like Panama and the British Virgin Islands. These companies held millions of dollars, making it hard to trace the funds back to Angola. This secrecy allowed the family to quietly grow their fortune while keeping the public in the dark. Despite the country's struggles, Dos Santos lived in luxury. He owned several properties, both in Angola and abroad. His family's lifestyle included private jets, luxury cars, and expensive parties. One shocking example was when his daughter Isabel paid $1 million to have Mariah Carey perform at a private event. Stories like this left many wondering how such extravagance was possible in a country facing so much poverty. When Dos Santos stepped down in 2017, things began to change. His successor, João Lourenço, launched a crackdown on corruption. The Dos Santos family became a target, with assets frozen in Angola and Portugal. Isabel, once Africa's richest woman, was accused of stealing public money and laundering it through international networks. She denied the charges, calling them politically motivated, but the evidence was hard to ignore. In July 2022, Dos Santos passed away in Spain. His death marked the end of an era but left a complicated legacy. The wealth he and his family gained compared to Angola's poverty remains a powerful example of how corruption can harm a nation. And that's how Africa's richest presidents hide their billions. But the surprises don't end here. Watch how the Mexican cartel hide their billions next. It's full of shocking tricks and untold secrets.